Imagine a world where spiritual leaders aren't just, quietly contemplating things.
Yeah.
Imagine them fiercely debating the path to enlightenment in, heated public forums.
Right, complete with accusations, challenges.
Even some pretty dramatic entrances, it turns out.
Exactly.
Today, we're plunging into an ancient text, the Udumbarikasuttaṃ, that gives us this amazing front row seat to just such a showdown. It's this timeless clash of ideas about what really matters spiritually.
Yeah.
And it still feels relevant today.
It absolutely does. Our mission here is to unpack this text, this really fascinating source. It chronicles this key encounter.
Okay.
You've got a leading ascetic, a householder caught in the middle, and, well, the Buddha. And we'll dig into these really contrasting views on asceticism, the surprising pitfalls you find even in seemingly devout practices, and what's ultimately presented as the true path to spiritual purity. And it ends with this powerful, really open invitation.
Okay, let's set the scene then. Where are we?
We're in the ancient city of Rajagaha.
Rajagaha, okay.
And there's this householder, Sanhana. He's seeking wisdom.
A relatable quest.
Definitely. So first, he tries to visit the Buddha.
Makes sense.
But the Buddha's in quiet seclusion up on Gihikaka Mountain. You get this real sense of deep peace, withdrawal.
Right, and hard to get an appointment.
Pretty much. So Sanhana can't reach him there. He decides, okay, let's visit another spiritual leader, a wanderer named Nigrodha.
Nigrodha. And he's at this place called Udumbarika.
Yeah, Udumbarika Wanderers Park. And, well, the contrast couldn't be more stark.
Oh, how so?
Instead of quiet contemplation, Nigrodha is surrounded by this huge group, like 300 wanderers.
Wow, 300.
And they are not quiet. The text says they're loud, noisy.
So less spiritual retreat, more like a bustling ancient chat room.
Something like that. They're engaged in what the text calls low topics.
Low topics, like what?
Oh, the ancient equivalent of idle chatter. Talk of kings, robbers, wars, food, clothes.
Okay, standard gossip.
Exactly. Women, men, strong drink, street gossip, even debates about existence and non-existence, but in a, noisy, unfocused way.
It really sets up that contrast with the Buddha's preference for quiet, doesn't it?
It really does. Now, Nigrodha spots Sanhana coming. He's perceptive, and he knows Sanhana is a disciple of Gautama the Buddha, and crucially, that Sanhana appreciates silence. So quick. He tells his crowd to quiet down. Shh.
Smooth.
Well, after some pleasantries, Sanhana, quite respectfully actually, points out the difference. He contrasts Nigrodha's noisy group with the Buddha's preference for quiet, secluded places for meditation.
And how does Nigrodha take that?
Not well. It sparks this really dismissive response. He claims the Buddha's wisdom is empty.
Empty? Ouch.
Yeah, and that he's unfit for company. He even likens him to a lame cow that sort of hangs around the edges.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
It gets bolder. Nigrodha then says, basically, if the Buddha dared to come to their assembly, they could easily corner him with a single question and overwhelm him like an empty pot.
Okay, fighting talk. He's really laying down a challenge.
A very public one. But then the narrative takes this dramatic turn.
What happens?
The text says the Buddha, using his divine hearing, overhears this entire exchange. All of it.
No way.
Yeah.
So he hears the insults, the challenge.
Everything. And what does he do? Does he stay up on his mountain?
I'm guessing not, given the buildup.
Nope. He immediately descends from the mountain, starts walking out in the open near the Sumagata River, heading straight for Nigrodha's park.
Wow, okay. That's quite an entrance.
Right. So Nigrodha sees him coming and, again, tells his assembly, be silent. Remember, he likes quiet.
He's consistent, I'll give him that.
Then he quickly tells his followers the question they should use to ambush the Buddha.
The pre-planned question. What was it?
Essentially, what is the Lord's teaching? How does he train his disciples so they gain assurance and reach the highest holy life?
So they've got their trap ready?
Exactly. But when the Buddha arrives, Nigrodha gives him a warm welcome. Then the Buddha just asks, quite calmly, so what were you all just discussing?
Calling him out?
Kind of. And Nigrodha, maybe a bit flustered, actually reveals their planned question.
He admits it.
He does. But here's the brilliant twist. The Buddha doesn't answer it directly.
Oh. What does he do?
He says, basically, it's difficult for someone with a completely different view, a different persuasion, to really grasp his training.
Okay, fair enough.
And then he challenges Nigrodha right back. He says, you, Nigrodha, asked me a question about your own doctrine.
His own doctrine?
Yes. Specifically, how is asceticism complete and how is it incomplete?
Wow. turning the tables completely. How did the crowd react to that?
They were amazed. The text says the wanderers started murmuring about the Buddha's great power and might.
Why? Because he was confident enough to discuss their views.
Exactly. That he was willing to set aside his own teaching for a moment and engage with theirs, on their terms. It was a masterstroke.
That really is fascinating. Instead of defending, he probes their understanding first.
It's a really effective approach. It allows him to demonstrate he understands where they're coming from before pointing out potential issues.
Okay, so he asked Nigrodha, what makes asceticism complete or incomplete, according to your view? What was Nigrodha's idea of complete asceticism?
Well, this is where the text gets incredibly detailed. It paints a picture of really extreme physical self-denial.
More than just fasting, I assume.
Oh, much more. We're talking about ascetics going completely naked, being totally unkempt, licking their hands clean after eating, refusing food from specific containers like pots or baskets, or if it came from between fence posts.
Wow, really specific rules.
Very. Or refusing food from a pregnant woman or a nursing mother, or even if there were flies swarming near the food source.
Okay, extreme restrictions. What about eating habits?
Super strict. Eating only once every day, or every 2 days, sometimes only once every 7 days.
7 days?
Yes. And even then, maybe only 1, 2, or up to 7 small mouthfuls.
And the food itself? Probably not very appealing.
Definitely not. We're talking coarse vegetables, millet, wild rice fragments, moss, rice bran, grass, even cow dung.
Cow dung. Seriously.
Seriously. Forest roots, windfall fruit, the roughest possible sustenance.
It sounds incredibly harsh. What about their general lifestyle?
Just as tough, wearing rough clothing like hemp or stuff scavenged from cremation grounds, rags, animal hides, even rough hair blankets or owl feathers.
Owl feathers, that's specific.
Some would pull out their own hair and beards.
Ow.
Many would practice by standing continuously, refusing to sit down, or they'd adopt painful postures like squatting constantly.
No comfort at all.
Sleeping on beds of thorns or wooden planks, or just the bare ground, living out in the open air, taking whatever shelter came their way, bathing maybe 3 times a day, even in freezing cold water.
Okay, listening to all that, I can absolutely see why Nigrodha would consider that complete asceticism by those external standards.
Exactly. And he agrees with the Buddha. Yes, that's what we consider complete.
But I sense a but coming.
A big but. This is where the Buddha delivers his really profound insight. He says, even when asceticism looks like that on the outside, even when it seems complete, there can still be many imperfections.
Imperfections? After all that, what kind?
Internal ones. Mental ones. This is the crucial shift. The Buddha points out things like pride and self-glorification.
Yeah.
You know, being really pleased with yourself for being so tough, praising yourself, putting others down.
Right, the ego creeping in.
Exactly. Or becoming intoxicated or heedless because of your intense practice. Another big one. Practicing just to get stuff.
Stuff like what?
Offerings, respect, fame. You do all this harsh stuff so people will admire you and give you things.
Okay, so the motivation is skewed.
Right. And then when you get that fame or respect, you become proud or careless because of it.
That makes sense. It's not about the external act, but the inner state driving it. Was that a totally new idea back then?
While self-discipline was common, the Buddha's sharp focus on these specific mental and moral flaws behind the actions, listing them out like this, was really quite distinctive. It cuts deeper.
What else did he list?
Attachment to preferences, even among ascetics. Being picky about the rough food they did get. Oh, this scrap suits me, that one doesn't.
Even in deprivation, preferences appear.
Yep. Clinging to what little you like, discarding what you don't. Then there's hypocrisy and deceit.
Like pretending to be more ascetic than you are.
Exactly. Practicing just for show, maybe hiding certain comforts, or outright lying about your practices of someone else.
Uncovering the hidden agendas, yeah.
And it goes on. Envy and disparagement, criticizing other monks or ascetics, maybe how they get their support, or feeling envious when others get honored and you don't.
So competitiveness.
Absolutely. And finally, a whole host of negative mental states. Anger, resentment, hypocrisy, malice, envy again, stinginess, deceit, craftiness, stubbornness, arrogance.
Wow, it's a long list.
Evil desires, holding wrong views, and really clinging to them. Finding it hard to let go of your own opinions.
It's striking how, well, human all those imperfections sound.
Yeah.
They're not exclusive to ancient ascetics, are they?
Not at all. That's what makes this so powerful. It's a timeless analysis of the human mind's pitfalls, regardless of the path you're on.
And Nigrodha, faced with this list.
To his credit, he listens. And he agrees. He says, yes, those are imperfections, and admits that ascetics, his followers included perhaps, often show them.
Okay, so that's how asceticism can be incomplete, even when it looks extreme. How does it become pure then, according to the Buddha?
Well, logically, it starts by not doing all those things. Purity at the first level is defined by actively avoiding those imperfections.
So the opposite.
Right. Not being pleased with yourself, not praising yourself or putting others down, not getting attached to any gains or respect you might receive, consuming food without attachment, really seeing the potential dangers in needing food, and understanding how to be free from that need, not practicing just for show or honor, basically shedding all that mental baggage we just talked about.
Right, a purification by negation. Does this level of purity make asceticism supreme and essential?
Nigrodha thinks so. He agrees again, yes, now it is supreme and essential.
But I'm guessing the Buddha has another layer.
He does. He offers the subtle correction. At this stage where you've just stopped the negative stuff, the purity is only like the film or scum on the surface of something.
The film or scum.
Yeah.
Like papiapacha in the original Pali.
Exactly, papipata. It's just the very outer layer, superficial.
Okay, so still not the core. What's the next level then? What's beneath the scum?
The next stage, getting closer to supreme and essential, involves what the Buddha calls the fourfold restraint.
Fourfold restraint, what does that entail?
It's a fundamental ethical commitment. First, not killing living beings, not causing others to kill, and not approving of killing.
Okay, nonviolence.
Second, not stealing, not causing stealing, not approving of stealing.
Non-stealing, got it.
Third, not lying, not causing lying, not approving of lying.
Truthfulness.
And fourth, and this is really important in a spiritual context, not speaking of having attained spiritual states or powers that you haven't actually attained.
No false claims about enlightenment or special abilities. That's crucial.
Absolutely. It's about profound integrity.
That feels like a much deeper foundation than just not being proud.
It is, and it's coupled with practice. This stage also involves retreating to secluded places, forests, caves, mountains, even charnel grounds.
Like the Buddha himself preferred.
Right. And after collecting alms, sitting down to meditate, keeping the body erect, establishing mindfulness.
So dedicated meditation practice is key here.
Crucial. And the goal of this meditation, at this stage, is to purify the mind by abandoning 5 specific mental obstacles, known as the 5 hindrances.
The 5 hindrances, what are they?
First is sensual desire or greed. Second is ill will or anger. Third is sloth and torpor, that heavy, dull laziness.
Fourth is restlessness and remorse, the agitated, worried mind. And fifth is skeptical doubt, the kind that paralyzes action.
Overcoming those sounds like a huge step, a real clearing of the mental clutter.
It is a profound internal purification. And once the mind is clearer, it leads to the active cultivation of positive states.
Like what?
The 4 immeasurable states, or Brahmaviharas: boundless loving kindness, metta,
Okay.
boundless compassion, karus, boundless sympathetic joy, mudito, feeling happy for others' happiness,
Right.
and boundless equanimity, upaka, maintaining balance and peace regardless of circumstances, and radiating these qualities out in all directions to the entire world without any enmity or ill will.
Wow. That sounds incredibly profound. Surely this is supreme. Nigrodha must think so.
He does. He agrees again. Yes, this is supreme and essential.
But let me guess. Still not the ultimate heartwood. You're catching on. The Buddha clarifies again. Even this level, the ethical conduct, the overcoming of hindrances, the cultivation of these boundless states, is still only like the bark or the skin of the tree?
The bark or skin.
Tak.
Kapata.
Precisely, takapata. Deeper than the scum for sure, but not yet the innermost core.
Okay, we're peeling the layers like an onion here. What's the next layer in? The sapwood or pulp?
That's the term, phegapata, the sapwood. This stage builds on everything that came before the ethical purity, the mental clarity.
Right.
And it involves developing a specific kind of knowledge, the ability to recall one's own past lives.
Recollecting past lives.
Seriously.
Yes. The text describes the ascetic developing the power to remember countless previous existences, going back through many world cycles.
In detail.
In great detail. Remembering names, family clans, what they looked like, what kind of food they ate, their experiences of pleasure and pain, how long they lived, how they died, and where they were reborn next.
That's an extraordinary ability, a completely different perspective on oneself and time. It's considered a very significant step in understanding the nature of existence and cyclic rebirth. Sasara.
Okay, remembering past lives. That feels pretty ultimate. Is this the heartwood?
Nigrodha certainly thinks so. He agrees again, supreme and essential. But the Buddha says, no, even this profound knowledge is still only the sapwood or pulp, figopata, close to the core, but not the final essence.
Wow. Okay, after all that, what possibly remains? What is the true heartwood, the ultimate supreme and essential achievement in asceticism, according to the Buddha?
The heartwood is the attainment of another, even more profound kind of knowledge, access through what's called the divine eye.
The divine eye, what does that see?
With this purified divine eye, which surpasses ordinary human vision, the ascetic sees the bigger picture of karma and rebirth, not just for themselves, but for all beings.
All beings. How?
They see beings passing away and reappearing moment by moment, life after life. They see how they move between different realms, inferior to superior, ugly to beautiful, fortunate to unfortunate. And crucially, they understand why. They see precisely how beings fare according to their karma, their intentional actions.
So direct insight into the law of cause and effect across lifetimes.
Exactly. Seeing clearly how actions of body, speech, and mind lead to specific results. Seeing how those who do evil, who hold wrong views, tend towards states of suffering, deprivation, even hell realms. And conversely, seeing how those who perform wholesome actions, who cultivate good qualities, are reborn in happier states, fortunate circumstances, even heavenly realms.
This panoramic understanding of karma and rebirth for everyone, that's the final piece.
That's the heartwood. This direct experiential insight built upon all the previous stages of purification, the ethical conduct, the mental concentration, the overcoming of hindrances, the boundless states, the memory of past lives. This is what the Buddha declares is truly supreme and essential.
And this is the answer to Nigrodha's original challenge.
Precisely. The Buddha asserts that this whole path, culminating in this liberating insight, is the very teaching by which he trains his disciples, leading them to genuine assurance and the highest holy life.
So after laying all this out, how does the conversation wrap up? What about Senhana, the householder who started it all?
Well, Santana speaks up then. He reminds Nigrodha, right there in front of everyone, about his earlier boasts.
Ooh, awkward. Reminds him about calling the Buddha unfit for company and easily cornered.
Exactly that. You can just imagine the tension.
How does Nigrodha react to being called out like that?
The text says he was visibly ashamed and fell silent. Then, very humbly, he admits his fault. He calls himself a fool, dull, and unskillful.
Wow, a complete turnaround.
Yes, he asks the Buddha for forgiveness and promises to practice restraint in the future.
And the Buddha's response to this apology?
Incredibly gracious. He accepts it readily. But more than that, he points out that recognizing a fault as a fault and making amends is actually a sign of growth in the noble discipline.
So it's not about condemnation, it's framed as a learning opportunity. That's quite compassionate.
Very much so. And then comes perhaps the most striking part of the whole discourse.
What's that?
The Buddha issues this remarkable, wide-open invitation.
An invitation? To whom?
To anyone in Nigrodha's assembly, or anywhere, really, who fits a certain description.
Praise.
Someone who is intelligent, not fraudulent or deceitful, sincere and upright by nature.
Okay, basically someone honest and genuinely seeking.
Right. And the Buddha proclaims that if such a person comes to him, he will teach them the Dharma, the path.
And the outcome.
By practicing as instructed, that person can realize for themselves, in this very life, the supreme goal of the holy life.
Realize it in this life. That's a powerful promise. Does he give any indication of how long that might take?
He does. And this is maybe the most astonishing part. He gives a sliding scale.
A sliding scale.
Yes. He says this realization could be achieved in 7 years, or 6 years, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 year.
Okay, still impressive.
But then he keeps going. Or 7 months, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 month, or even half a month.
Half a month, wow.
And finally he says, it could even be achieved in as little as 7 days.
7 days.
Yeah.
From sincere seeker to realizing the supreme goal. That's an almost unbelievable claim.
It's an extraordinary statement of the potential for rapid transformation, given the right conditions and the right guidance.
Did he clarify why he was making this offer? What was his motivation? Was he trying to convert them all?
He addresses that directly. The text has him state very clearly his intention. It's not about making them his disciples in name only.
Okay.
It's not about getting them to change their particular ascetic practices or livelihood or abandon the things their tradition might call good or bad.
So what is it about then?
His teaching, he says, is offered solely for the purpose of enabling them to abandon unwholesome things, things that defile the mind, that lead to rebirth, that cause distress and suffering, things bound up with birth, aging, and death.
Right, the root causes of suffering.
Exactly. And conversely, his teaching is for allowing wholesome things to increase, and for wisdom, that deep understanding, to reach fullness.
So it's purely about liberation and wisdom,
Yeah.
not about joining his team or adopting superficial changes.
That's the stated intent, a purely pragmatic offer focused on ending suffering.
So after this incredible invitation, this promise, what happens? Does everyone jump up and say, teach us?
Sadly, no. The narrative ends on a rather poignant, almost somber note.
Oh.
The text says the other wanderers, Nigrodha's followers, just remained silent.
Silent. Why?
They are described as being beset by Mara. Mara often represents the forces of delusion, temptation, attachment, basically, the inner obstacles that prevent spiritual progress. They just couldn't grasp the depth or significance of the offer.
So the opportunity was there, but they couldn't take it.
It seems so. The Buddha, perceiving their state of mind, their delusion, simply ascends into the air and returns to seclusion on Gijako Mountain.
Yeah, and Sandana, the householder who started it all.
He just quietly returns home.
Wow, what a journey. From a noisy park debate to the layers of asceticism, the imperfections, the path to purity, and that final, almost tragic silence.
It's an incredibly rich text.
So recapping the core insight from this deep dive into the Udumbarikasuttaṃ, true spiritual purity, as presented here, goes way beyond just toughing it out physically, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's not about the outward show. It demands this really profound inner transformation.
Yeah, shedding the pride, the envy, the attachments.
And actively cultivating those boundless states like compassion and gaining that deep, insightful wisdom into how things really work, into karma and existence itself.
It really hammers home that external practices are kind of hollow without the right internal state, the right motivation.
And that genuine liberation comes from purifying the mind and truly understanding reality.
You know, this text really challenges us, even today, doesn't it? To look beyond the surface, beyond people's visible acts of piety or discipline, and ask, what are the inner motivations? What's the mental state behind the actions? Whether it's in others or, maybe more importantly, in ourselves.
That's a key takeaway. And here's a final thought to chew on. If this ancient wisdom offered such a direct path, potentially leading to profound insight in just 7 days for someone sincere, what hidden imperfections, what subtle forms of pride or attachment might we be overlooking in our own lives and our own pursuit of meaning or understanding that prevent us from seeing things more clearly?